Alright, hi guys. So, I was thinking, why not give you guys one more episode when I can? So, I'm just going to adjust this once. So I'm just going to give you guys one more chapter. Actually, just kidding. I don't like that. Of Clarice being spells, sorry, I'm seeing if someone needs me, trouble. Chapter 10. This is by Lauren Child, by the way. And, oh, I know. Sorry. I was like, why does this feel so close? Okay, but chapter 10 by Lauren Child. Page 103 if you're following along. And remember to grab your blanket, a pillow, snack, something to just get you nice and comfortable. And maybe you're doing a puzzle or word search. I don't know, whatever you want. Maybe you're on a walk. Anyway, get yourself comfortable and let's begin. Sometimes there are things you would rather not know. Chapter 10. The next day I watched TV. Clancy Crew and Ruby Redford are hiding out after school. They are watching out for suspicious behavior and strange goings-on. Which of course there is a lot of in Twinford. Ruby, hey Clance, would you take a look at this? Ruby passes her sunglasses, which are actually a pair of binoculars in disguise, to Clancy, and he puts them on. Clancy, well, what do you know? Isn't that Bonnie Herbert, the super geeky talking to Booger? Gonna give him a, Boston accent. You better believe it, Buster. Boy, the stuff you see when you're hanging out on surveillance. You can learn a lot about folks if you just sit back and watch. You got that right. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it with my own two eyes. Okay, now he's gonna be Southern Boston person. Since when did Vopana Bogart start getting friendly with geeks? She's gotta be up to something. How do you know? Because she always is. I'll bet you she probably wants to use his computer or borrow his new bike. She would suck up to him for no reason. You can be sure of that. Just then, when Clancy and Ruby are being all distracted, a sinister-looking black car drives up. They don't see it because they are too busy being distracted, and that is something that undercover secret agents must never be. Do you see what's happened? Ruby Redford has broken one of her own golden Ruby Redford rules. Never get distracted by the little things when something big is going down. And this just goes to prove that even someone like Ruby Redford, who is a brilliant genius, can slip up from time to time and forget the most important things. I decide to do some surveillance of my own, for example. Watch to see if someone is up to anything. So I get my Ruby Redford notebook and I go and sit outside my house in a chair so I can accidentally see what interesting things are going on in our street. That's actually really fun to do. I'd recommend it. It is a very hot day, and after 22 minutes, I'm parched to a crisp, and only a meager cat with a limp has walked by. It would be all right if I was sitting here with Clancy Crew. He is a great sort of friend to have, and I start thinking about Carl Renberry and how I wish he would come and sit in a chair with me, but he's not talking to me anymore, so that's that, really. Mrs. Stampney comes out and flaps a tea towel and says, "Does your mother know you're sitting out front doing nothing?" So I say, "I'm not doing nothing. I'm watching things." Cat with a limp. She says, "Being a nosy Parker, more like." I say, "Takes one to know one." I say that under my breath because the last thing I want is Mrs. Stampney on my tail. Stampney, especially when I am on surveillance. Hitch always says, "Ruby, don't attract the attention of members of the public. They will blow you cover." Ruby is a bit hot-headed and often gets into trouble because she can't stop herself from telling people what's what. Ruby and me have this in common slightly. Mrs. Stampney goes back indoors and pretends she isn't looking at me through her lace curtains, and I pretend I'm not noticing that she's looking at me through her lace curtains. That's a Ruby Redford rule. Never let the enemy know that they know. Pretending not to know things is much harder work than you might think. I can hear Robert Granger's loud voice. He lives next door, and he's playing in his paddling pool, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't pop it, the way he's bouncing about. As much as I don't want to talk to Robert Granger, I do really want to go in his paddling pool because I'm really hot as a lobster and will probably overheat at any moment and start gibbering. The heat can make you do that if you are not careful. It can be known for people to go into utter madness of the brain. I decide to take an emergency action to avoid this possibility. I go into the yard and call over the wall and say, "Hello, Robert Granger, is that a paddling pool?" And he says, "No, it's a plunge pool, a special mini pool for cooling down, often found in Hollywood. Not a little titchy pool found in Robert Granger's yard. An actual fact, which it is not, but I don't say anything because I don't want to go in it. So I say, "Oh, it looks really good. I've never been in a plunge pool before." And he says, "Do you want to try it?" Which of course I do, since otherwise I would be not talking to him. I say really casual, "Okay, why not? Just for a minute or two." I'm already in my bathing suit for speed, and I climb over the back wall and nip into the pool. It's worth it for 5 minutes, but as soon as I have cooled down, I begin to see the air of my waist, plus he may have peed in it. Luckily for me, Mom calls, "Clarice, Betty is on the phone." So I say, "Sorry, Robert, but I will have to take that call." And he shouts, "Come right back, won't you?" I feel a teensy bit bad because I know I will not go right back. I will nip over to Betty's as soon as I possibly can. Betty's all very excited because she has been to the updated Ruby Redford website. It has loads of new facts about the author, Patricia F. Maple Stacy. Although I notice that they still have the picture of her looking very youngish, when I happen to know she's more like 72 or so. They have also printed on the website Ruby Redford code. Ruby Redford code. Bad equals tapioca, because tapioca is a horrible pudding. Good equals pizza, because pizza is delicious. Trouble equals dirty dog, because dirty dogs don't smell good. The Ruby Redford code, just like she uses in the books, so you can learn how to speak it. It sounds really complicated at first, and you don't think it would be possible to ever get the hang of, but then you get to know how it works, and you see how it is done, and you realize that she has just swapped the meanings of words around. It's a bit like a whole new language, and me and Betty are going to learn it so we can speak secretly to each other without anyone else being able to understand. When you click on the website, the voice of Hitch comes on and goes, "Glad you could make it, kid," which is something he always says in the books. He is a new Hitch, the Hollywood one, and his name is George Conway. Betty says, "Look, it even has a picture of the new Ruby Redford who will be in the movie. She looks a bit like me, but with less tangly hair and more oomph. She is named Skylar Summer." I say, "I wish I was named Skylar Summer. I have such an unstarry name. Someone who is called Skylar Summer is much more likely to be in a Hollywood movie than someone called Clarice Bean Tuesday." Betty says, "I think Clarice Bean Tuesday is a very good name to have, and it sounds utterly like a writer or an organic muffin." Maybe she is right, and it's not so bad for a name. Names are interesting things because they are just words, but they can make you feel differently about someone. That's true. It's a bit like that, what Mr. Washington was, when I see Washington, I want to put George before it, was talking about how they all sort of mean things and how the sound of your name can be important. If you don't know someone, but you like their name, you sort of expect to like them, at least at first. And if you have a pretty name, you sort of expect them to be pretty. And if you have a cool sort of name, like Clancy Crew, you expect them to be coolish. And if someone has a rarish name, you're much more likely to remember them. Names are very important. I mean, when you hear the name Hog Trotter, you just know he is not going to be the pleasant type. That's someone that you would judge before, but then find out they're really cool later. Mr. Washington's name makes me want to go to Washington because I like him, and it makes me wonder if I would like Washington the place. My name is sort of unusual, so people tend to remember me, which can be good and can be bad, depending. I am mooching back from Betty's, trying to think of a name I would like to be called more than Clarice Bean, and I am suddenly distracted by the shouting coming out of the telephone booth on the Sesame Park Road. And just as I'm about to walk past, the door flings open, and Carl Renberry comes running out. For one single second, he turns around and sees me, and I see him, and I know that it looks like he might be nearly in tears. And I know he will hate me for seeing this, and he runs off so fast I can't even see anything, even if I could have thought to say anything. And I can't say anything, not see anything. I look down at the ground, and there are lots of tiny pieces of paper like a tiny trail. I collected them all up and put them all together, and all the tiny pieces of paper make a number, and underneath the number there is a smiley face drawn, and I know what it is. It's Carl's dad's phone number. And that is the end of chapter 10. So thank you guys for joining me. That is it for today for uploading, but possibly upload tomorrow. Won't be able to do it on Sunday because we have a big event. Not Monday, so next time I'll be uploading Tuesday, so get caught up with these ones that I've put out. And well, I mean, if you're watching this one, you've probably already caught up, but thank you guys for joining me, and hope you guys subscribe so I can see you in future chapters and future books, and click the notification bell so that you know when I upload. And thank you guys again for watching, and tell other people so that we can all explore the awesome world of books together. So see you guys next time. Bye.